Welcome back to Unplugged. We are so excited to be back with a brand new episode, and today I'm joined with Charl Geoghegan, who's the head of brand marketing at Refy. So Charl, do you mind starting off and telling us a little bit about you and your role as head of brand marketing at Refy?
No, it's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? So I oversee a team of, I want to say it's 16 people now. When I started back in January of 2022, it was just me and 2 other girls, which is pretty crazy. Refy's we turned 3 in November, we're turning 4 this November, which is really exciting. And we oversee like PR, brand, comms, influencer, brand events and experience, as well as the creative department sits in my team as well. So quite busy, but rather busy than bored.
Yes, that is a perfect end to that question. So I think everyone can agree that Refy has grown to now be perceived as more of a lifestyle and an aesthetic rather than just a brand, which is amazing. So what marketing strategies have contributed to this evolution, do you think?
So I think for us, we're really consistent on the personas that we market to. So we've got 2 personas and we try and keep everything as tight as possible to that to make sure that what we're actually delivering for those customers is what they expect and what they align with. I think another important one for us is we're really strict on our brand values and mission, so everything we do always comes back to that. But I think, I said this earlier in my talk, I think brand is more than just, your what, your why and your who and your how. I think I almost see it as a person, like I'm playing The Sims. So bear with me, but it's almost like I've created my sim and then I have to create the world around her that the sim moves through and lives in, and then it's that all together that kind of the customer then goes, okay, I understand that brand, I understand that lifestyle, and then they can see themselves in that lifestyle and the brand itself. So I think that's been really helpful for us, as well as obviously we're co-founded by 2 lovely females, big up the girls, and one of them is an influencer in her own right. So I think she's developed a really strong understanding and connection with her audience and community, and she almost is visually the personification of the Refy brand and lifestyle. So it's really almost easy for us to kind of use that to then amplify that to our audience as well, so they really get it.
Yeah, no, 100%. So what would you say are the first 3 steps to gain customer advocacy for a new brand?
Oh, for a new one. I think there's so many people doing this really well as well, actually. There's one that everyone references at the moment. I think they're called Good Girl Snacks, and they sell pickles in the US.
I've seen that,
yeah. And their social is wild, and their community is so strong that like you can't get them here and people want to buy them. So I think it doesn't really matter whether you're new or not. I think for my biggest piece of advice would be to define like your brand values and who you are, and then stick with that as closely as possible, because people tend to kind of loosen the reins on brand in order to kind of get those sales and get that conversion. But for me, the longer and the truer you stay to brand, it all comes and it all builds. So I'd say that's number 1. Number 2 is, I said this earlier, you've got to create something that they care about. They've got to care about you, and they've got to care about your products and how you make them feel and the kind of experience that you give them. And you can do that through inspiring them, engaging them, like letting them explore you as a brand. And one thing I always say to the team is that every single touch point is an opportunity to give someone a really good experience, because I think there's a crazy stat where the majority of customers after one good experience will go and tell you about someone else. That's advocacy, so I think it's essential to remember that. And then finally, I would say it's listening to people. Customers will tell you exactly what they want, so ask them, and you don't need to start big, you can start small and just work your way up. But if you're constantly staying true to who you are, what your customer wants, and really making them feel a part of something special, then you're going to get that customer advocacy.
No, for sure. What key metrics should brands use to measure the success of their customer advocacy efforts?
That depends on what your objective is with it, I would say. So for us at Refy, we're all about sentiment, positive sentiment with our community, which is hard to measure, I suppose, unless you get a sentiment tool, but you can do it by looking in the comments and seeing what feedback you get and the reviews you get from customers. We send surveys out a lot to our customers to get that genuine feedback, and we've just started a broadcast channel as well on Instagram, so we're constantly in communication with our customers, so we constantly get that feedback. So for us, it's sentiment, because we want to make them feel a part of something, and that's what we want them to shout about. Like, they will shout about the products because the products are great, but what we want them to do is be involved in the brand. So it's that for us. However, depending on your objective, it could be anything. There's a lot of brands that have an advocacy program that drive a lot of conversions, so you can measure it based on that, or you can measure it based on the UGC. But for us, it's all about that customer customer feeling and that positive sentiment.
Amazing. And finally, what brands do you think at the moment are really leaning into their customer loyalty to enhance their product or service, and they're just doing it really, really well?
This is really good. I think Adanola, another Manchester brand that's doing really well, like they're constantly doing like little easy to execute community events where their audience can show up and really feel a part of the brand and involved in the brand. This is such a good question. I think Abercrombie and Fitch are doing it really well. Abercrombie and Fitch, like back in my day, not to give away my age, was just a bit like exclusive and you couldn't be a part of it. And now I see them on everyone, everywhere, and they cater to all sizes, and they've really, I think, nailed community as well. And then I must say that I think a lot of the skatewear brands do really well. As a brand that I really love that's a bit, I would say a bit more understated, but they're called Picante.
Yeah,
and they work on drops,
yes.
And I just think that their vibe is so cool, and I think that the way they speak and talk to their customers is really, really cool. And like, I mean, I bought a shirt the other day. I'm not really a Picante customer, but I was really, really drawn into it. Like I said in my talk earlier, I am a marketer's dream. Like, yeah. I will buy it.
Amazing. That's a perfect way to end. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you in the next one.